Hello, my Flickering Myth family, and welcome to our channel. My name is EJ, and in this video, we will be discussing the brand new romantic comedy, No Hard Feelings. There is a lot to discuss. We will be talking about the good, the bad, and the Jennifer Lawrence in this brand new romantic comedy. I'm not saying I walked into this movie with low expectations, but I walked into No Hard Feelings with almost no expectations. Not in a bad way, but I had no idea what I was going to walk into when I sat down for this. I heard it was a raunchy comedy. We'll talk about the raunchiness of this. It's not that raunchy. Yeah, so I heard that, and I heard Jennifer Lawrence was fronting a very traditional romantic comedy, which she's never really done in her career. How was all of that going to work? Well, like I said, we'll be discussing the good, the bad, and the Jennifer Lawrence, but for my overall feelings, I liked this movie. It was way more earnest. It was way more sweet than I expected. It is a broad comedy with a lot of big comedy moments. Some of them will work, some of them will not. But overall, this was just a straight up old school comedy. I thought it was going to go for more 80s style comedy, but this really reminded me of a lot of like late 90s, early 2000s comedies. This feels a throwback to those things. Maybe a little bit of American Pie. Again, American Pie is far raunchier than this will ever even hit. But yeah, those kind of movies. That's what this feels like a throwback to. We do not get mid-ranged comedies anymore. There's always big budget blockbusters, especially like a Marvel movie that shoves so much comedy in, or they're very small, low budget projects. This feels like they spent some money on it, especially with our big lead actress, but it also spent like they put time and care into this. There is a heart and a soul to No Hard Feelings, and that's why this is much better than a lot of people are expecting and much better than it deserves to be. Director Gene Stupinski is behind this film, and whoa, what an improvement over his last couple films like The Good Boys and Bad Teacher. This feels bigger, a little bit better, a bit more refined. There is still big comedy moments that will play for certain people and that won't work with other ones. That's, how comedy is. Comedy is, to me, the most subjective out of any genre. But again, this was a director who felt more confident this time around. It felt like I knew exactly what this movie wanted to say. There is a lot of times romantic comedies in general, just kind of are there for the laughs. That's just purely what they're there to do, is just make you laugh, which is fine, but like a good date. Like, let's say you're going on a date with somebody. You could like the hookup part, but you also have to deal with them in between the hookups. That's how I feel about comedy movies. Sometimes it feels like, yeah, I really liked the entertainment part, but the talking, the in between the entertainment, it's not usually that great. But not with No Hard Feelings. The comedy is great, but there's also a heart, a soul, a plot. Again, not a very advanced plot. Sometimes the plot can get a bit wackadoo that you're like, is this believable? Those things aside, again, it's a comedy movie. I'm not going to really critique like the believability, but again, those are the moments that I'm like, wow, they actually put thought into this movie. I actually feel like they cared about these characters in this story, especially Jennifer Lawrence's character. She'll get a whole section at the end of this review where I just discuss the good and the bad of her on her own. But again, I like that this movie felt like it cared for our characters. It never wanted to depict anyone in a bad light. It never really made anyone too moronic or too, again, comedies, you really have to do stereotypes. That works really well of getting to know these characters, but not in 2023 and not with this movie. There isn't stereotypes. There isn't anyone that you're like, oh, this person is this. Everyone's a bit layered. Everyone has a bit, something different to say or a different personality. I really like that. Again, in this also, in a comedy, so many people feel like they speak with the same voice, a lot of the same humor, a lot of the same jokes, but all of our characters felt so different. They all had different personalities, different types of humor, so it really blended together. Our two leads, especially, vastly different, but they come together for some great magic. Andrew Barth Feldman is an actor I had no idea existed before this movie, but I'm going to be on the lookout for him. He has like that Mike Feist energy. He was in West Side Story. He has something about that, but he also feels a little Tom Holland, but he also feels a little Michael Cera. It just feels like I haven't seen an actor quite like him in a long time. He played awkward so well. Usually characters like this, I'm not going to lie, can come off a bit pathetic or a bit like, oh, they're really trying, or they read like they're on the spectrum and then it almost comes off offensive. No, this character, again, was layered, had a lot of different things. Andrew really brought life to him, and I actually really enjoyed all of these characters, even the side people, random ones, like Matthew Broderick's like father-ish character. I'm like, oh, I like you. You're cute. You're a weird bad dad sometimes, but again, I like these characters. I got to know them. The comedy really works because we know who these humans are. Besides all of the story and the comedy beats, I thought this movie looked good. I thought it sounded good. Some good soundtrack moments, some good just vibes. And not to say movies all need to be vibes, but I can throw this movie on multiple times and enjoy it. Like there's a moment where we see one of our characters start singing, and I'm like, I want to hear that song again. I liked this rendition of it. Those little moments really stand out to me and really make it, again, a movie I would see multiple times. A movie I can see a lot of people falling in love with. A romantic comedy that we haven't seen a movie like this in a while, and it feels good. It feels earnest. It feels needed. When I'm looking at the bad, like I said, the directing is good. I like the comedy. Sometimes there were some moments that I just felt that the jokes were just a bit okay, we would repeat jokes, which is nice to do in comedies. You kind of set up gags and pay them off in recurring gags. Those are things that needed to be there, but some of them just weren't great. Also, I felt like we fast forward a lot of plot points, or we would introduce things that I thought would be so clever and so great, and then we would drop them. We would meet a character that I'm like, ooh, is this a possible, a third party for a love triangle? Oh no, they're just kind of gone. Oh, we're starting up this thing. Oh, it's just a lot of moments where I was like, we could add more to the story. Would that have added more to the runtime? And I would have been upset because this was a quick hour and 43 minutes. That's great. A blessing. It didn't need to be 2 hours. But there was little moments where I'm like, maybe we could have tightened up the comedy and added more soul to the backstories of some characters. And then again, I'm like, do I really need backstory? It's hit or miss. I felt this movie was good. It was fulfilling, but I wanted a bit more. And that's a compliment because, again, what was presented was good. But sometimes I'm like, yeah, that comedy gag, which I know we needed, the Jennifer Lawrence naked fight scene. Oh my goodness. Jennifer Lawrence naked fight scene, all you need to know. Yeah, those moments were good, but sometimes I'm like, we could have tightened that up to add a little bit more here and there. By the time we're in the third act, by the time it's you've seen these movies, a fight happens, so our two main characters have to stop talking to come back in the third act. You've seen these movies, very by the book. By that time I'm just kind of like, oh, we're here already. I wanted to spend more time with this universe, with these characters. I liked what was presented, and then it just disappeared on me, and then it just wrapped up, and I'm like, but still, there's more to be had here. This is good. This is good. It could be better. Give it to me. I said this movie's good and could be better, but do you know who can't get better? Is Jennifer goddamn Lawrence. Whoa, I have not seen her in a while. Jennifer Lawrence is back, and this is unlike anything we've ever seen her in before. She's done, romantic-ish dramas like Silver Linings Playbook. She's been in movies countless times. I mean, she's an actress that we've seen for decades now, and I really like to see her work, starting in the mid-2000s to the 2010s, where she was a big figure, to now the 2020s, and she hasn't really made that 2020 moment, but this is it for her. I don't want to see her get stuck in these kind of comedies, but I think she offered something really good here. But again, the swagger and the presence she has. This whole movie, I kept waiting for the prestige movie twist, the art house twist to make this a big Jennifer Lawrence blockbuster. But this is so basic that I, again, appreciated that Jennifer Lawrence kind of stepped back. She was doing the big blockbusters, the superhero movies, the Hunger Games, but she was also doing her Let's Win Awards movies. This is a movie that she was like, I just want to have fun. And you can tell this movie felt like fun to make with everyone involved, but especially with Jennifer Lawrence. She needed a role and a film like this to really get back into the game and show people I have different sides. I'm naturally insanely funny. I think Jennifer Lawrence has some of the most natural charm and charisma out of anyone in Hollywood, but she's never got the chance to show it. She's very serious in a lot of her movies. I mean, think of Don't Look Up. She is the serious, that is the joke of her character, that she is far too serious in a wacky world. I'm glad that she gets to be wacky in a wacky world because she does it well. I mean, she's bigger than this comedy. I'm glad she kind of slummed it a bit to come down to this comedy and have fun, but I like that she brought it up as well. She came down to a basic film after doing such prestigious work for a while, but she elevated this, and that's exactly why we bring Jennifer Lawrence on. I'm happy to see her back. I'm happy to see her slay a comedy like this. Please do not leave the comedy world. I want her to return to horror. I think Jennifer Lawrence has a horror soul to her. She's so good in that genre. But comedy girl, especially broad, very mainstream comedies, you might have a future in this that we never expected. Jennifer Lawrence's big explosive comeback, a pretty solid comedy, and an actor who I will be following for quite some time. No Hard Feelings had a lot in it that I did not expect, but overall, I like this movie and I would watch it again. For a comedy movie, that is the highest compliment I could give this. Wow, what did you guys think of this movie? What did you guys think of this review? Share your feelings down in the comments below. Make sure you guys subscribe to Flickering Myth because we make videos like this every single week, and give me a thumbs up if you did enjoy. Alright, enough of this. Let's talk about Miss Jennifer Lawrence and let's talk about No Hard Feelings down there.